It's a professional production. There's thousands of people here, so all the people that are on Facebook Live out there, welcome. The thousands of people, we kept them behind the camera because we didn't want to interfere with their viewing experience. So I appreciate everybody that has came out today. Thank you guys for coming down. I wanted to put this together as I was kind of talking as you guys came in here. I want to talk a little bit about my backstory and talk a little bit about how we got to this point. And so we have to kind of go back 10 years in our history, back to a little town in northern Minnesota to kind of start this story. But I actually found this picture. This is actually my first business. I was, I think 14 or 15 years old when that picture was taken. I started a lawn mowing business. I was lucky my grandma and grandpa borrowed me enough money to go buy that thing. And I went around and I had 20 lawns that I mowed around town. And that was kind of my first start into business, and then I eventually start this business. This is the Music Man IT consulting and DJ business. So I'm a big fan of lettered vehicles, so we lettered the vehicle, and I think I was about 18 or 19 or something like that when this picture was taken. I had just moved out of my house, my grandma and grandpa's house. I was out on my own for the very first time, so that was kind of my first business. But over the course of the years, and the last 20 years or so, I've been self-employed. This is at my hospital job that we moved to northern Minnesota, and that's kind of where we're going to pick up the story here today. So back in 2014, I called Margo and I said, hey, we're going to move up to northern Minnesota. I got a job up there. Let's go. Pack the stuff up. And so the very year that we moved up to northern Minnesota, I remember, I don't think that there was a day that it got above 32 below zero. For 40 days straight, my kids never missed a day of school while we were up there. The bus came every day. It was crazy. And so we were really isolated. This was the first time that we had really moved away from our family. Our whole family's from Wisconsin, as some of you guys may know. But we really took a leap of faith. And we moved up there and we were by ourselves. We lived in a 2-bedroom trailer house with 4 kids. And if it was about 840 square foot, it was pretty tight. But it was while we were there, Margo and I took a trip out to Colorado. It was probably one of the first vacations that we actually took as a couple. And we remember going to an Airbnb out there. And we had the most magical experience with this couple. We were their first Airbnb guests. They had never had anybody there before. They had set this whole thing up. It was very at the beginning of Airbnb. They had a beautiful property. And they would go on to actually tell us the story about how the wife had she had cancer and she was going to pass away. And she really only had a couple years left to live. And during that trip, I think Margo and I realized that we maybe only had so much time left on this planet ourselves that we needed to go see this country. And so during that trip, we decided we were going to go travel the country. How are we going to do this? Well, we bought an RV. And so this is actually the first RV that we bought. This is a 1989. It's got a Chevy 454 in it. It gets 6 miles to the gallon. And it is a friggin' beast. So I moved our whole family into that RV. 2 girls and 2 boys. I think our daughter was maybe 5 or 6 when we moved into this. The week we bought it, the whole wall in the back of our bedroom came separated from the unit. I could stick my hand through the thing. And the dealer was like, good luck, you know. We ended up 3 weeks later, while we were living in this RV, a tornado almost took us out. I remember the tornado sirens went off. We looked outside, the sky was green, and the cops were like, you need to get in the police station right now or you're probably gonna be gone. And we literally watched a tornado come over the lake that we were at. I mean, it was probably one of the scariest things in my life. And it was at that point we're like, look, we got to figure this out. This is not going to work. We got to do something. So we took the RV to my mom's driveway and moved back in with Mom. It was great. She loved it. She was really happy to see her son back in her driveway. Living on an unemployment check, and I looked at Margo and I said, we got to do something. We got to figure this out. During the time between playing Candy Crush, I was watching a TV show called Shipping Wars. And we saw these people that had basically bid on shipping stuff all over the United States. And I said, oh, we can totally do that. And so I took a Honda Pilot with, 250,000 miles on it. We hooked a U-Haul trailer up to it, and you can actually see in this picture here. We got to Estes Park, Colorado. There's Mackenzie and Margo in the car. Trailer's in the background. When I unloaded that car, I'm not kidding when I said that $600 was the last money I had to my name. My whole family is in Colorado with basically everything in that truck, and we had to figure out what we were going to do next. I'm really lucky Margot was resourceful. She was able to quickly pivot, and she started looking for other jobs. We were on a website called uship.com at that point. And so we were able to quickly pick up a washer and dryer that needed to go to Massachusetts, and then some people that were moving to Michigan. And so we packed up a different U-Haul trailer, and we figured out how are we going to get to Massachusetts, right? And what happened during the course of this business, and kind of why I tell this story is I don't think that there was a day that things went smoothly. It was a shoestring budget. We ended up acquiring 3 trucks, but they weren't brand new trucks. Every truck I had 200,000 miles on it, and it was not the nicest mechanical condition when we got it. So about every 3 days, the thing would break down and need, a transmission, a transfer case, whatever major engine component. Yeah, blower fans. I think it was 120 degrees when you're in El Paso, Texas, and the blower fan went out on the truck. So you pull into the AutoZone parking lot, and you figure out how to put a blower fan in a 2001 Dodge pickup truck. And at that point, I just realized, we have got to keep it moving. There is no option for us to fail, because if I stop, there is no more money. That's it. There was a lot of days where I didn't even know how we were going to get to the next city that I had to get to, because that's how tight the budget was. But we had to continually keep moving. And I remember, this is actually a picture. Here's Margot. She was out hauling trucks or trailers with us too. At one point, I'd send her with that U-Haul trailer, go take a motorcycle to Tennessee, and off she would go for a couple days. We took the kids with us. The kids got to see, I think 40-some.
2 states for the boys and 39 from the council.
Yeah, here's my truck. I actually slept in the back seat of this. So if you ever want to wonder what struggle looks like, if you're 6 feet tall, go sleep in the back of one of those pickup trucks for a couple weeks. We eventually got the camper on the back. That was a Maine special. I bought that from $800 from some guy alongside of the street, and I lived in that for a couple months. That was, believe it or not, an upgrade. This actually is a crazy picture that I took at Stevens Pass. We were hauling this truck. This is one of my first trips to the West Coast, and when we went out to the West Coast, there was a travel trailer on this, and I had a Honda Goldwing hanging off the back of the tongue of this trailer. Literally, like the scariest, sketchiest thing that you've ever seen go down the highway. And actually, Margot and I were actually at this mountain pass in October. We went to a Brian Buffini conference, and I actually took another photo from this mountain pass. So it kind of came full circle. There's actually a boat motor in the back of this truck. This boat motor was so big, we had to crane it out of the truck. Just the craziest shit. So this is actually probably one of the worst days of my life when I was actually hauling, because my 24-foot trailer there's got about $500,000 worth of stuff in it, and it's about to go off of a cliff in upstate New York. You can't see it, but there's a pretty big cliff behind that, and it is not insured. So fun fact, if you're running a interstate transportation business, make sure you have a good insurance agent like Brian from Allstate here that's here today, to make sure that you don't have this situation where your entire life is hanging off of a cliff. The tow truck driver, I had to unhook my truck, and he pulled me up, and then the trailer was being held by the snowbank, and me and my truck and the tow truck had to pull that thing back out of that snowbank. It was crazy. Coming back from that trip, the back side of the trailer had a hole in it. Just like my RV, I could stick my hand through the back of the trailer. And I was driving past a little business called Sweetwater. Now, I'd seen it a lot, and people from around here, they know what Sweetwater is. But when I called Margot that day, just like, what is Sweetwater? I have no idea what it is, but one day I'm going to work there, I told her. 3 weeks later, I sat down in the conference room with Chuck Surak, my first day orientation at Sweetwater. And that was how we ended up in Fort Wayne. I don't know anybody, I'm not from here, there's no connection to Fort Wayne, but it was moving here for that business that would really change my life. And I remember Chuck sitting us down the very first day and saying, I will empower you to do whatever it takes to always take care of your customers no matter what. You don't ever have to ask for my permission, you don't ever have to wonder if you can do that. Always do the right thing. That's the only thing that you have to do here. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. And to this day, I still have a lot of admiration for that business. I brought candies today. They sent us some candies, so feel free to take those. all of my business philosophy has been really borrowed from the Sweetwater Touch today. And you guys are coming in today, we talked about the little touches that we attend to with our customers. So there's a lot of things. I brought personal notes for you guys. If you don't use personal notes, this is one of the most powerful things that you can possibly do to grow your business. This is like a missile into the heart of your customers. So, you know, what, I don't know, stamps like 50 cents, and one of these things, you can create impact that thousands of dollars worth of advertising will never do. My business has never had business cards. I went all over this United States. I generated $300,000 business, and I never even advertised this business. Nobody knew about me. It was Margo booking it, and me taking great care of my clients. This is one of the most iconic places in a car commercial that you've ever seen. If you've ever seen a car driving fast along a highway, a coastal highway, this is that spot. It's just outside of California, and I think every major car commercial outside of Malibu, yep. Every car commercial ever has been filmed there, but you can actually see these Harley Davidsons that a customer, he hired me to go get 27 of them all over the United States. I drove all over the country picking up all these bikes, and then I brought them back here, and I got 27 of them back to Indiana, and his wife said, I gotta sell them all. So I turned around and sold them all, and then went back and delivered them all across the country again, back to the new owners. And it's crazy how when you take care of your customers, they can really take care of you. This guy put food on my family, probably gave me over $100,000. And you know, I cannot tell you how thankful I am to be able to be.
He's here in Kokomo.
Yeah, he lives in Kokomo, actually.
Yes.
He still calls me every once in a while. Hey, can you move this for me, Travis? Absolutely, I got you. But we would not be here today. I would not be talking to you today if it wasn't for the sequence of events. I brought the book so you guys can look at. I kept the receipts from this trip, and so I do this to tell you that there has been a lot of struggle in our life, and I'm sure everybody else has been through struggles like us. This is me during the pandemic. I gained 100 pounds. I was so fat during the pandemic, I got so depressed I couldn't even wipe my own ass. And I mean, this is not a joke. This is how fat I got. I was so depressed. I took losing my job so hard that I just ate and laid in bed every day. And despite the fact that I had tremendous success in my life before, leading us to where we were today, when the pandemic happened, we were gonna buy our first house. We were supposed to close on Monday morning, and I got fired from my job on Friday. And so that was detrimental to me. Margo and I, we didn't exactly know what we were gonna do, and we were really lucky that we had a little bit of money in the bank. We were gonna buy that house, so we were able to sustain. We bought a cheap used camper. I started a cooking show, so I actually brought my Pampered Chef bag. That was one of my pandemic businesses, is I started a cooking show. Also ended up, because of my experience with Sweetwater, ended up starting a music sales business during the pandemic. So we sold about $100,000 worth of musical instruments, ukuleles, singing bowls. I've got some of the items on the table, ukuleles. I taught my kid how to program our Shopify website, and he set up all of our inventory. We had a couple thousand items on there, paid him a commission for his sales, and we did really, really good. That business was also entirely built on Facebook and word of mouth. So we took really good care of our customers. We had a really, really good system in the back end, and so it allowed us to prosper really through the pandemic. And so the next pivot happened was 3 days after I lost my job, I posted on social media that I had been fired. And a good friend of mine that I'd never actually met in person, but he said, hey, look, there's this website called Field Nation, and you can go on that website and you can make money today by bidding on IT jobs. I had 20 years worth of experience in IT. This is great. Within a couple days, I was out bidding on jobs. A couple weeks, I needed help. And I remember calling Margo, she used to work at Cracker Barrel when we first moved to Fort Wayne. I said, hey, look, I need your help in this IT job. Get your stuff, and we're gonna go rebuild the router. She's not even a computer person. She does not like computers. She's never touched a computer a day in her life. And she rebuilt the router at Schwann's. I think it took about 6 hours, but she figured that out. And over the course of the last 2 years, we've done about $250,000, just shy of $300,000 in that IT business. Coincidence that somebody sent me a message on a social media site. We used to work together at Ashley. And so a connection a world away got us to that point. And now today, Margo actually makes more money than I do. And I have 2 college degrees. She can go out and she can make more money doing IT business, running in our IT business than I do, and I've been doing it for 20 years. But this is really where our life gets interesting, because while we were on a trip to Florida, we decided, hey, we need to rent an RV. It's too expensive to stay in motels, so we were looking to rent an RV, and we thought, hey.
It was COVID, that's why we didn't want to stay.
Oh, yeah.
In the rooms.
Yeah, so during COVID, we took a kind of a manifestation trip down to Miami Beach. I decided I was going to go to Miami Beach for some reason, so I loaded the kids up and I said, this is a perfect place to take our kids on a trip, is Miami Beach. But while we were down there, we started looking for an RV rental, and we're like, hey, we could totally do this. There was a website where people rent their RVs out, and RV Share, Outdoorsy, there was a couple different websites. And so Margo and I were like, hey, we could do this. We got back, we went out and we bought that RV right there. We went up to Camping World up in Elkhart, and we went and bought this RV. And so this is kind of a pattern, if you guys haven't detected this in our life, is that I see something and I say, hey, I can do that. And then I go do it. And so, for better or for worse, that RV we'd end up buying 3 RVs. I'd buy that, I'd buy a bigger truck, I'd buy a bigger RV. Yeah, enter RV number 4. So, not last summer, the summer before, we bought this. It was about $85,000. It was probably one of the biggest, besides our house purchase we've ever made in our life. Rolled the dice on this thing. 2 years ago in September, a realtor and his wife, a lender and his wife rented that RV from me. And while I was sitting in that RV in the exact spot it's in right now, I was telling them about the terrible experience I had when we were trying to buy our first house. And they said, would you come to our brokerage? And would you come and listen to us do an offer to purchase contract class? So in October that year, September, Margo went and sat with that gentleman right there, Dan Quintero. Dan Quintero taught her how to write an offer to purchase. It was the first real time that we felt like we had a family since we moved to Fort Wayne. To be honest with you, I remember her coming back to me. She said, this is where we're going to be because it feels like a family. And so we went all in. We had our mentor who helped us. I call him every day. We sold 40 houses our first year, which is crazy. There's not a lot of people that can do that. But during the course of that time, our customers, we formed a bond with them. I've cried with my clients. The emotional connections and the bonds that we've made with our customers, I would not trade for the world. I may have made the least amount of money I've ever made in my life being in real estate, but the impact that I've been able to have in people's lives have been so incredible. And so that's why I wanted to talk to you guys today, is because all of the things that I've been through, everything that all the hell that I put Margo through in this course of my life has got us up to the point where we are today. And there's a new threat to real estate. There's a lot of things that are going to happen over the course of the summer. There's probably going to be a lot of people that are going to leave this business and they're going to quit because the money's not going to be as easy as it was when they got into the business, okay? And so today I stand here today, I feel so energized because today we've transitioned to a new brokerage. I'm at eXp now, so I've got my new cards out here. We're coaching other agents. A year after I started in the business, I'm coaching other agents that have been doing this for 10, 20 years. And we're resonating with them. We're doing good. They're coming to us and seeking our guidance. I have 20 years of experience in the IT business, so I have a lot of experience that I can bring technology-wise to our business. And if you think that our business is going to get less technological in the next 10 years, ask the dial-up telephone how that worked. And so in the next evolution of our business, where we go from here, this is what I want to talk about today, is our business is going to go 10x. After today. I brought you guys here. I really appreciate everybody showing up because the people that are in this room to be with me are going to go with us. I want to form a bond, a business relationship with people that cannot be broken. And our businesses will serve in all verticals, insurance, lending, building, whatever that our customers need, we're going to put them in front of the best resources in the business. I only work with the best. And when we bring somebody in, I have total confidence that our customers are going to be totally taken care of. And so what I want to do is offer you guys a little bit of some support and some of the things that helped me when I was out struggling alongside the road when I was crying myself to sleep, and to help build something that's unshakable. And so one of the things that I, for better or for worse, had to rely upon was myself. 99% of the time when I was broke down alongside the road, I had to go on a YouTube video and I had to figure out how something worked. And so over the course of my life, I've just developed this skill of being reliant upon myself. And a lot of the times, if I have a struggle, Brian and I talked about insurance. I've had insurance struggles, and so I've had to go try to educate myself. But I'm not gonna ever be the best guy in insurance. I gotta go to the best guy. He has spent his life doing this. I only dabble in it, okay? And so next thing is, what can I read? What are the resources that I can educate myself? There's books on the table that I brought for you guys today. Some of the books that I brought have been very helpful for me in trying to figure out, where do I get to where I want to be? And then who can I ask? So that's kind of the referring to an expert. There are so many great experts that we can all go to. And so I have had a hard time asking for help. I can admit to you today that it's hard for me to ask for help. When I call Dan and I say, Dan, I just stuck my foot in my mouth. What should I do about this? Okay, but the thing is that when you become a problem solver, your value becomes indestructible. The ability to solve problems is a skill that I cannot tell you how valuable it is for me. And one of my days, I remember this like it was yesterday, was I had a customer call and they wanted us to do emergency service. And Marco told them $1,000 an hour and did not miss a beat. And they laughed at us like we were crazy. And a couple hours later when they called back and they still didn't have a technician to go to that store, and she told them $1,500 an hour, they said, how fast can you be there? You today have the ability to make any amount of money that you want to. You can do whatever you want to, whatever you dream up, you can go do it. It's totally obtainable. There is absolutely nothing that's going to stop you. The only thing that's going to stop you is when you have a problem, how do you respond? Nobody told me when I was starting my business how hard it was going to be and how much I was going to struggle and how much the hell I was going to put Margot through. I mean, last year when you're in real estate, I thought we were going to get divorced a couple different times. And you know, those types of challenges when you're building a business, I think everybody in this room is an entrepreneur. You never really understand. And then you complain because you're like, I don't have this and I don't have that. And you know, I've realized in the course of being on the road that there's a lot of days I didn't have the resources I needed either. I used Harbor Freight tools that cost $20 to put a transmission in. The guy at the transmission shop uses a $4,000 socket. And so when you're on this process, you have to be willing to demand more of yourself than you could ever possibly dream it's going to require. I work a lot and I work really hard days and I'd love to spend more time with my family, but it has been required hard work for me to get here. And so the last thing I put on there is being willing to compete at a level that your competition doesn't know existed. I will work harder, I will go harder, I will work as long as it takes to get to where I need to be. I will not be deterred. But that's also a detriment, right? Because where's my family in that? Sometimes my family is the one that suffers, right? So that's what we have to work on. But when I was complaining about all the things I didn't have, I was never really grateful for the things I did have. And so you've heard about the guy complaining about a guy with no shoes, right? He used to complain about not having two shoes until I met a guy with no feet. Well, I met a guy with no arms and no legs a couple weeks ago. This man has surpassed me in every way in business and finance and faith and family, and he doesn't have any arms or any legs. And so I thought I was really doing good. I pat myself on the back, good job, Travis. But this guy is day trading on a cell phone. He doesn't have any arms. I don't understand. What's my excuse? How come I'm not living up to this standard too? I like to think I did a lot of stuff, but what more can I do? And so I always struggled with this. Why can't I be successful? I'm putting in all this hard work. I'm doing all the stuff that I'm supposed to do. Why do I keep failing? And I used to take the failure really hard. You saw, I gained 100 pounds. The failure is part of the process. Every one of those failures led me up to where I am today. Had I not taken a chance on an RV rental business, I wouldn't be in real estate. And I wouldn't be talking to you. So take a chance, fail fast, and be ready for it. Be prepared like a Boy Scout, because it's going to happen. Every time I come up with a new business, I'm like, well, can't wait to see what's going to happen. I'm either going to get sued or I'm going to come up with some other problem why it's not going to happen. So how do you get to the next level? And that's why I wanted to bring you here today, because there is absolutely no way that you will ever get to the next level without the help of a coach and a mentor. And one of my mentors is in the room today, but I cannot think of a person that reached a level of greatness without a coach and a mentor, and maybe more than one. When I first hired my first coach, people thought I was crazy. What do you need a coach for? Now I work with coaches, more than one coach. And when I have something in my life that I need guidance in, I go seek out an expert. I talked about the Iron Panda. One of my weaknesses was not emotionally connecting with my clients. I met the Iron Panda and I realized very quickly that the emotional connection is the sweetness to bringing my business to the next level. But everything always seems like a failure when you're in the middle of it. You get a good coach and he can help you endure the pain and get through to where you need to be. A couple weeks ago, Margot and I met John Maxwell, who flies around in his private jet, gets private speaking events, gets tons of money. And he says, everybody wants to do what you do, but nobody wants to do what you did. And so that really hit me, because that's why I want to tell you my story. This is what we did. We didn't just go get a real estate license. We did some stuff first. And it was a struggle. It was really, really hard. And so the next thing that I could encourage you to do is stop caring what people think about you. I kind of let that go. I still try to moderate what I do, but I built my business on social media. And I have a brand, and that brand is that I really care about my clients. And so I try to let that show through in all the things that I do. I've tried to eliminate a win-lose mindset from my mentality, which is something I struggle with every day. And that's why I try to help other people, because that has now been the secret of my last kind of bit of success here is helping other people. So that's why I invited everybody here today, is I hope that something that I've shared with you today will help you. That was coincidental timing of the bell. All done, bye. On the tables, I was kind of talking to you, there's lots of little stuff that I brought to share with. And if you want to rip it off, please feel free to take whatever you guys want from the tables. There's photo albums, there's a book that I wrote, which is a picture book because I don't like to read, right? But I brought all these things with today to just kind of show you, I don't run a ukulele business anymore. That business